How can you overcome the fear of speaking in a foreign language? I'm going to do this in one take, and if I have mistakes in English, I am sorry. I'm not a native speaker, but I'll do my best. So many of us, we learn a language, a foreign language. For me, it's English. And we get to the point where we understand pretty good. We can read, we can write, but we don't feel so confident to speak. We're very afraid to make mistakes. So I've been teaching Hebrew, which is my native tongue, for 11 years now. I'm teaching Hebrew through theater, music, writing, creative ways, and I also teach singing. I'm a vocal coach. And the connection between both of those things, to speak in a foreign language and to sing, is our voices, the throat chakra, and it's all about expression. And I've seen for 11 years now that almost all of us have a story, and it's connected to a fear that was created when we were kids. So I can tell you that as a kid, I spoke Hebrew very well. Obviously, I'm a native Hebrew speaker, but it was very hard for me to read and write. The specific technique that they taught back then, how to read in Hebrew, didn't work for me. And it took 6 whole years for me to read. It took 6 years to understand that I'm not lazy or stupid, but I'm just, I need something else. I need a different way. There isn't just one way. And after 6 years, they taught me in a different way, and I learned how to read and write perfectly and very fast when they changed the way. But it created an insecurity. In those 6 years, a lot of the time, the teacher called all of us to read out loud in front of a class, something in literature or history. And not once, not twice, but many times she used to call me. And I couldn't do it. I really wanted to, but I didn't know how. It was like reading Chinese today for me. And I tried, I did my best, but everything came out wrong. And my classmates laughed, obviously, they were kids. And my teacher was very angry because she thought I was lazy, I'm not doing my homework. And she was right. I wasn't doing my homework because I didn't know what to do. And for me as a kid, this vulnerable situation, and we are so vulnerable anyways, right? People. But as a kid that is so susceptible to begin with, it felt like danger. It felt like the end of the world. So many years after that, when I already know how to read and write perfectly, I am still insecure. I still have this fear. It's embodied in my body. It's a part of me. And I was afraid to speak in front of people, and I was afraid to speak with people. So much so, I became an introvert. I was very afraid to sound out my voice, my opinions, my ideas, to raise my hand. The one thing that saved me, and it didn't take a day or two, it took a while, but the one thing that saved me, that there was something even greater than the huge shame and fear that I felt. And the thing was love. Love and enjoyment, two things, but they're connected. So there was one thing that I loved so much that was even greater than my fear, and that was singing. Singing, acting, performance art. I adored it. And it was very hard for me to do something about it because I was afraid to speak in front of people, let alone sing. But I don't know. I feel that I was born with this love, and from when I know myself, right? As young as I can know, I remember myself, I sang all day long. I got up in the morning and sang, and I went to sleep and sang, and all day long. So I loved it so much. And it took me a while, but I've decided to go for it because I loved it more than I was afraid. And I was very, very, very afraid. So the transformation didn't take a day or a week. It took a while, but I could do it because I loved it so much. So what happens to us actually? Most of us has this fear because way back then when we were very susceptible and vulnerable kids. Someone told us something. It could be a teacher, a parent, an uncle, a classmate. They said something. They probably didn't even mean it. They didn't mean anything by it, but it doesn't matter. This is how we understood it, how we experienced it. And it became such a muscle memory that when we need to speak or sound out our voices or stand in front of people or speak in a foreign language, which is double the fear and insecurity, because you don't know all the words and you don't control everything and you don't own this language still. So this fear lights up, and it's very hard for us to actively speak. So what do we do? How do we make the transformation? I have to start by saying it takes a while. It's a process. I see on YouTube a lot of people that speak and talk about how they learned 80 languages in 4 months. Maybe, I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying that most of us, we need patience. We need time. It's not that easy. We need to process things. It's not that hard, but we need to be patient and compassionate to ourselves. So some people, it's easier for them. Some people, it takes a while. For me, I have to say, it takes a while. Everything that I learn, and it's okay. It's not a contest. So we need to be a bit patient with ourselves and know that it is a process, and we need to release that fantasy of a magic pill that just magically will, do everything. Or no, we need to do the work. But, and it's a big but, it doesn't sound good. If we find something that we love so much, we don't care if it takes 4 months instead of 4 hours, because it's fun. And that is the key to success, to find something that we love more than what we fear of. And then we don't need motivation, because it doesn't work anyway. And we don't care if it takes us a while, because we're having fun in the process. And it's not work. And that is what I do with my students. We find that one thing they love the most, that thing that is greater than their fear. And we connect that to the learning. And then we can start to speak, to learn, to do things. And even though it's not a magic pill, it's just the right way to work, it feels like magic, because after so many years of avoidance and closing yourself, suddenly you can speak in a foreign language, in your own mother tongue, it doesn't matter. Suddenly you have the confidence to stand in front of people, to lecture, to make a presentation, to raise your hand in class, to say your ideas in a staff meeting, to stand in front of a large audience, a small audience, a date, a job interview. This is how we do it. So find out, what is the one thing that you love, that you're passionate about, that is greater than your fear, and you will discover a huge victory there.